Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where and when you are listening to this. This is Coffee with Kevin, and I am Kevin, and this is my coffee. My coffee looks a little strange in there. Had the coffee on a little heater and got a little film on it, but it's still good. It's still good. Hey, good morning. It is June 18th. June 18th already. We're just halfway into the year, halfway into the halfway month of the year. Wow. Today in history, the most exciting thing, and the thing of my generation, is the first woman into space on this day in 1983. In 1983, Sally Ride, Sally Ride, Sally Ride made her way into space. And I don't know which Apollo it was, but it was in 1983. So that's big thing in history. Probably the biggest thing out of everything else that happened this year. Yeah, we got the Battle of Waterloo, but that was in 1815. And who cares about that? Other than it's a great thing to remember that name. Anyway, that was this week, this day in history, and tomorrow, of course, is a much bigger day. It's a new national holiday. Been national holiday for a few years now. Is Juneteenth, June 19th tomorrow. It is a celebration, and it blew me away when I learned this. This is a celebration of when the last area of the South was notified that there was the emancipation. It was an area in Texas, and it was 3 years after the war had finished. It's just that kind of blows me away as to that took so long. But that's the day we celebrate. That's what Juneteenth is all about. June 19th. It's interesting. We came up with this Juneteenth. I don't think anyone in the 1800s or early 1900s, or maybe even the whole last century, would have thought of Juneteenth as a name for it. But anyway, that's our celebration this week, and it's a very important one. It's I'm trying to. I thought I had something on my screen floating up, and it was a little tiny baby's micro ant of some sort. And so I was reaching for the screen. Good morning, Joan. It's so nice to see you this morning on this beautiful morning. I don't know how it is where you are. We got sunshine. I'm looking out my window. Palm trees are lightly blowing in the wind, and blue skies and sunshine. And it's such a great morning. And you feel so good. You feel so good about everything when you can wake up and the skies are blue and the sun's out. And it's just something natural about that actually creates maybe the endorphins or whatever it is in your body. When we feel good, it's a chemical reaction in our body. Now, do we feel good and then it makes a chemical reaction, or does a chemical reaction happen and we feel good? I'm not sure about that. That's something to look up. But if you're listening to me and you know the answer to that, please put it in the chat. And if you listen to this, a lot of people don't listen to this live and they listen to this later, or they might not listen to this. And I see the comments on Facebook, but I don't see them on LinkedIn or YouTube. So if you're listening on any of these channels, please comment and share if you like this. Every Tuesday morning, we're here to give you some beautiful tips for the day, for the week, and sometimes for life. So what are we talking about today? What are we talking about today? Well, I found the quote that I wanted to speak to today. It is, the best things in life can be yours if you can appreciate yourself. The best things in life can be yours if you can appreciate yourself. I love that because the appreciation is gratitude. Gratitude, as you've heard me many times saying, gratitude is one of the most important emotions we can have, one of the most important feelings we can have. When we go around and we're grateful for the little things that happen to us during the day, or the little things we see during the day, is like in this my background here, not the coffee beans, but the further background. When I see beautiful flowers, I appreciate that. I say thank you for that. I say thank you to God for that, because it is beauty that He's put in our lives. Now, granted, beauty is very subjective. I haven't figured out, or I haven't found anybody who will look at flowers like this live, see flowers like this, that don't think they're beautiful. I'm sure there are people out there that don't, but I haven't found anybody that don't think they're beautiful. So most people will look at this and say, how gorgeous, how gorgeous. The fact that we can have that, the fact that it's part of nature, the fact that it shows up in front of us even is a reason for gratitude. But this quote's not talking about gratitude for the things that we see. It's talking about appreciating yourself. So when I talk to people about having gratitude, about noticing things in their life, everyday little things in their life, like their loved ones. They talk to their loved ones, they hear their voice, whatever it is. They notice that, yeah, they get a roof over their heads. They have food in their plates, right? When you get to really realize and look at that, you can have that gratitude. You can start to appreciate the smallest things. Now, when it's appreciating yourself, it's the same thing. You can start to appreciate the smallest things. A lot of us can look at ourselves and say, wow, I can't believe I've made it this far in my life through everything, all the trials and tribulations, all the turmoil that I've gone through, and I've made it. That's something to appreciate. If you've had any things in your life that you're proud of, and I know that sometimes we're so overwhelmed with the problems in our life, we can't think of those, because I've had clients that says there's no good times in my life, and that is impossible. That is impossible, because through a lifetime, it doesn't matter how old you are, even if you're 10 years old, there are going to be good times in your life, but sometimes it's overshadowed by all the not so good times, all the bad times, all the tragedy, all the trauma, that we can't see them, but they're there. They're there. Joan, congratulations. You'll be 60 and you have gratitude. The Joan, I love you, because you look at life in such an incredible way, the way that everyone else should look at it. And that is perfect. That's a great way to look at it. You made it. You made it. I think I started saying that when I turned 30, and then when I turned 40, and 45, and 50, and then 51, 52, 53. No, there's all sorts of things to appreciate ourselves with. Okay. If you can appreciate the fact that you actually help others in your life, because all of us do in one way or another, don't we? If you can appreciate the fact that you're able to help out at the job you do, or the business you're in, if you can appreciate the fact that you're a part of the partnership of you and your partner, you and your spouse, you and your boyfriend or girlfriend, and you're doing well at it, you can appreciate yourself. If you can appreciate the fact that you had a lot of good moments in your life, you know how to appreciate other things in your life, you can appreciate yourself. There's lots of things to look at ourselves and appreciate ourselves for. And that's what we need to do. That's what we want to do. So once we can appreciate ourselves, the best things in life can be ours. No, I'm in the process of building and creating a course on law of attraction. On the law of attraction, yes, and the law of attraction says that you can, if you're thinking about something very deeply and for a long time, and you're really thinking about it a lot, that you can bring it into your life. That's what the law of attraction says. Now, the problem with the law of attraction is a lot of people try to do this, but they have so many things in the back of their minds saying, wait a second here. Wait a second, you can't possibly pull this off. You've never done anything like that before. Or you don't deserve this, or you're not worthy of this, and you're not good enough. You're not educated enough. You're not young enough. You're not old enough. We come up with all these things. Now, these things are things that block us. These are also things that go against us appreciating ourselves. So when the idea of you can have the best things can be yours if you can appreciate yourself. Absolutely. There are people that are successful that don't appreciate themselves, but they're not anywhere near as happy as the people that aren't anywhere near as successful as them, but appreciate themselves a lot. All right. I am talking, in other words, there's another way to talk about this. We're talking about self-esteem. We're talking about the ability that you like yourself, that you believe in yourself, that you feel that you are worthy of having things in your life, of having love in your life, and everything else. 20 years of marriage, that's awesome. Awesome. It had something to do with that. Absolutely. By the way, I'm going to be celebrating 42 years in 2 months. So there's something worked right there too. I haven't figured it out yet. No, of course. Of course. That is awesome. So I wanted to actually share another quote today. Today's a two quote day. And Dale Carnegie, by the way, I just bought How to Win and Influence Friends. How to Influence Friends. His famous book. I had never read it top to bottom, and Dale Carnegie, been coming up all around me. People taking Dale Carnegie courses and being a Dale Carnegie coaching. So I want to go back and read this book, even though it was written in 1953. And you'd be amazed. There are some books that were written a long time ago, be it 50 years ago, 100 years ago, even 150 years ago, they still stand. There's still things in there that still apply today. When we're talking about the human mind, we're talking about creativity and motivation. The things that worked back then still work today. They're put across differently. However, it's still workable. So I'm going to be digging into this book real soon. And that's why I chose Dale Carnegie. But there's another quote that just came up. And it's not Noram. I can't believe I cut and paste that. So wherever I cut and paste it from, which was another document of mine, I spelled Norman wrong. So as anybody can do just about anything with himself that he or she really wants to do and makes up his or her mind to do. We are capable of greater things than we realize. Okay? Basically, it's saying that anything you really, really want to do, and you make up your mind that you're going to do it, you can do it. You are greater than you realize. And here's another thing, embodied in this quote has something to do with self-esteem. It's basically telling you, it's trying to build your self-esteem, saying you're greater than you realize. You really can do this if you put your mind to it and you really want to do it. The simple version of this is the one that's attributed to Henry Ford all the time. It's whether you think you can or you think you can't. That's it. It's true. All right. Basically, it's saying whatever you put your mind to doing or the fact that you can't do will happen. All right. So the thing in here is the thing here, by the way, I keep on seeing Noram. It's Norman again, if you didn't hear it earlier. The thing in this quote is that our mind has a lot to do with it. The way we look at things have a lot to do with our results, what we can and cannot do. We can easily say, I can't do this, and have that happen for us. And then we can say, see, I told you I can't do this. Isn't that easy? But it's much better if you say, I can do this, and you go out and do it, and then you say, see, I told you I can do this. That's much more satisfying. But even if you say, I can do this, and it turns out you can't do this the time you tried, and you learn from it, even better, even better. You don't try, you'll never know. I mean, you're my quote now. You don't try, you'll never know. Thank you for that, Joan. Thank you. And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You know, being in business and having started several companies and helping startups and entrepreneurs, one of the things we always hear from the experienced people is that you're going to fail. That most of the people who are very successful in business will tell you they've had a lot of businesses or a lot of business tries that didn't work. And they often don't say they failed because they've already applied the fact that language of failure needs to be changed around because they didn't fail if they continued and eventually got it working. That wasn't a failure. It didn't work. So many people who are successful, matter of fact, just about anyone who's successful in business has had tries of their business that didn't work. And they figured it out. They either pivoted, changed up all around, and they learned a lot from why it didn't work, and then they retooled. That was me trying to figure out, basic carpentry stuff along the years. I was the worst of the worst. I had no idea. And I had to learn a lot from my failures, from my tries that didn't work. I had to learn a lot from them. And, it was a long journey, and it culminated in me being able to make this really beautiful looking tabletop that went between um, two columns, and it was on the side of it was on top of a smaller wall that divided my kitchen and my living room. And so what used to be a place for knickknacks became a place for dining with stools. And it was one of the best places to hang out because then we could design it, we could put lights up top and everything else. And it was just a really cool place. And I had done that all on my own, but I took a lot of learning as to how to do that, how to cut, how to sand, how to polish, how to mount. I had these really fancy mountings on the bottom that held the table up, and I needed to have it secure so when the arms went on the edges of the table, they didn't bring it down. So I had to have branches of the I don't even know the proper names for them. I didn't learn proper names, but I had to have supports out there and underneath, so that when someone did lean, it didn't just tip over. So it was really cool. I enjoyed doing that, and I had a bunch of other little smaller projects that started to work out well. And I had a lot of tools that I learned to use, and I learned to use them well. One year we framed a bunch of artwork. They were multi-piece artwork for You know, you have a whole scenery that's cut up into 3 or 4 or 5 pieces, and they would come just to canvas. And I had to cut up all the frames, put the frames together, and we gave out a bunch of them. I think I probably made like 30, 40, 50 frame, or maybe more, frames in over the years, and had given these pictures away as gifts. It was really cool. So yes, we learn from our mistakes. We do. I am going to sign off now. I want you to know that if you don't try, you'll never know. If you do try, you can learn as you're trying, what's going on. Is it going to work? If it doesn't work, why didn't it work? If it did work, is this something you want? Sometimes you learn that too. So you take this and know that you are able to do anything you want. I'm going to go back to our original quote here. The best things in life can be yours if you can appreciate yourself. If you've got a growth mindset and you're all about learning, you should appreciate that, because you are many steps ahead of many of the people around you. Not everybody has a good, healthy growth mindset. You keep that and build that. Okay, until next week, you have an incredible day, a phenomenal week. Matter of fact, I'm wishing that for you, but I know that you can make it yourself. And when you learn how to turn your day into an incredible day and your week into a phenomenal week, then you have something really great to appreciate about yourself too. All right, it's in your control. You take care. See you next week.